Personally, I've never had the motivation to really get into computer programming. I've mucked about a bit in different contexts and once worked as a graphic artist in the video games industry, which didn't involve me actually coding, but I had to understand a lot of the basic concepts of how video games operate logically. That was over 25 years ago, before even the first PlayStation hit the market. But in the last 6 months, from 2022 into 2023, I've finally taken a genuine interest in programming. I've started mucking about with graphic user interfaces for programming because my daughter wanted me to make Minecraft mods for her. I've since gotten quite into it and released about half a dozen Minecraft mods that are getting better and better in quality. This one, called Ager's Massive Castle Generator, and I'm very pleased with what the mod can do so far. And yes, unfortunately learning to program mods has distracted me a lot from making new videos, but the skills and insights that I'm getting from the programming will contribute to the context of future videos anyway. Especially any future videos I make on the subject of artificial intelligence, because that always gets you guys arguing anyway. Right, so to make these mods, I've mostly been using a program called mCreator. It lets me take chunks of pre-written code represented as coloured blocks and slot them together geometrically. It's time-saving and it lets me think of the code in visual geometric terms that I can more easily relate to, but it gives the option to manually alter the code as well. I've also been using a program called Blockbench. It's a basic 3D graphics package suitable for designing characters and blocks for Minecraft. These are some of the creatures and characters I've been making, so the old computer graphics experience I had when working in the games industry way back in the early 1990s are kicking back into action, as well as my past hobby of drawing and painting. Those skills have been kicking back in as well. By the way, the blockiness and low resolution textures in these models are part of the Minecraft experience. Their simplicity allows the complex world of the game to render more easily, but in my view, they also hold a strong psychological appeal all of their own. I'm not just talking my graphics there, I'm talking the vanilla game graphics. Despite the incredible graphics of the most advanced and complex games today, a lot of people still love to do what's called retro gaming. They go back to the simplicity of Pac-Man, Asteroids and other eras of gaming that had a much simpler look, simpler controls and simpler game environments. In fact, the bright coloured lines against the black background in 2001's Stargate sequence from 1969 bear aesthetic resemblance to the early video games that began appearing in the 1970s and 80s. Part of the appeal of retro gaming worlds, I believe, is their geometric simplicity. Like with kids' cartoons, these are worlds in which characters and environments are clearly distinguished as solid colour shapes, largely devoid of the complex visual aesthetics that we call texture. Even in most modern 3D games, if you approach an object and get close to it, you can tell that the texture is fake. And while there is definitely a demand among gamers for more realism, there also remains a certain comfort in games that are visually simple. One particular game that has struck a massively appealing balance between game environment complexity and visual simplicity is, of course, Minecraft. The whole world is constructed of rigid cuboid blocks, nearly all of which can be broken by the player, collected and then placed elsewhere to build houses or whatever structure the player feels like. Big underground caverns can be explored and the world seems to go endlessly in all directions, which funnily enough makes it a flat earth game. Visually, the game is a totally cuboid dimension. Circles cannot and do not exist here. Even the sun and moon are squares. And the clouds are cubic. Water and lava flow in cubic shapes too. It's a bit like the world of Tron, but more strictly cubed and with more welcoming colours and the addition of artificial texture. Seeing the game for the first time is like seeing the monolith, except the geometry has taken over the entire universe. And there are even portals in the game for accessing another dimension, which look very much like 2001's monolith. I'm not the only one to notice that, of course. It's a famous comparison and could well have been intended by the original makers of the game. Way back before computers, the cubist style in painting wasn't a technical necessity, but here in Minecraft it is. By slicing the world up into blocks, each being about 3 foot by 3 foot on all sides compared to the player character, Minecraft represents each block or cell as a simplified code of reference. An individual block is either air, dirt or stone among many other block types, but in real life a 3 foot by 3 foot chunk of space is a very complex thing, containing an unimaginable number of atoms arranged in tons of different chemical compound formations. In real life, every 3 foot by 3 foot area of space is totally unique and is forever changing, such as the infinite complexity of reality. So Minecraft reduces that reality to a minuscule level of simplicity, allowing the game to generate a world where every single 3 foot by 3 foot block has fixed content and fixed rules of interaction. Cuboid reality allows this to happen in Minecraft without overloading the computer's computational demands. However, Minecraft has been on the market for over 12 years, and while gaming computers have gotten more powerful and games with an emphasis on hyper-real graphics have gotten more complex in how they look, Minecraft retains its same graphical simplicity while somehow remaining equally popular. Personally, I was hoping to see a Minecraft sequel in which the blocks of the world are made at least 50% smaller in comparison to the player. This would allow for more complex environments and structures, but it hasn't happened. And of the many Minecraft clone games that have been released, they all seem to stick with the 3 foot by 3 foot block height concept, 2 blocks being the height of the player roughly. So if anyone out there is thinking of doing a new Minecraft clone, make the blocks smaller. It'd be just a really good step forward. I'd check out the game. The animals, monsters and characters of Minecraft haven't been updated to be more visually complex either, and the game hasn't increased the resolution of its vanilla textures to make the world look more detailed. There are plenty of mods that increase the texture detail of blocks and creatures, though the core blockiness of the game world is virtually never affected by it. Maybe the creators of Minecraft or its current copyright owners can't be bothered making these kinds of changes, or maybe audiences don't want a Minecraft world made of smaller sized blocks, even if the computing power is available. Or maybe the 3 foot by 3 foot block simplicity holds a particular appeal all of its own. Or maybe the entire Minecraft community, the gamers and programmers alike, have all just gotten themselves stuck in that perceptual box of a certain size of block in the world. Part of the appeal of Minecraft's cuboid simplicity, I believe, is the resulting interactional simplicity. When a block is stone, you don't have to think about it too much. You either break it with a pickaxe, or you place another block against it, or you just leave it there. And if you dig a tunnel to walk through, it only needs to be 2 blocks high and 1 block wide, so it's quick and easy to dig. You can dig a tunnel in 10 minutes that would take you months in reality. Of course, pretty much all video games are geometry based. Part of the task of a video game graphic artist is to work within that square-tiled or cuboid reality to create graphical puzzle pieces that connect together in ways that disguise the cubic seams. The most realistic looking games are the ones that visually trick the audience into not recognizing the geometric wireframe simplicity or the textural repetition of the cubic layout. But Minecraft takes an almost opposite approach. It allows the geometric simplicity and repetition of the game world to show in a very obvious way, and fans of the game embrace it as a desirable reality. I suppose you could say the game is more honest about its own artificiality. Well, actually, it's the makers of the game who are more honest about it. There's a similar thing going on with how the blocks and creatures of the game are textured. The resolution is so low that it's very obviously just another series of geometric squares, pixels, a 2D version of the world's 3D blockiness. The resolution is so low that a creature's eye is often a single square pixel. Now, this creates a challenge for the texture artist to work with such extreme limitations of shape and detail, but when it's done well, the texture provides an illusion of additional 3D shapes and contours on what remains a flat geometric surface. Of course, the game could do away with textures altogether by just having plain block colour cubes and characters and no texture maps, but I think that would be unsatisfactory to gamers psychologically, and I suspect it's part of why the geometric world of Tron never became a franchise movie series. Zero texture gives the impression of a world that is hard and cold, while the 2D texture maps in Minecraft provide just enough illusion of additional detail to overcome that hard, cold, lifeless feeling, making the world seem more complex and sensational and alive. It's far from being an intellectually convincing imitation of reality, but aesthetically it gives enough impression of surfaces that can be touched and felt to enhance emotional engagement. This is also true with a lot of cubist artwork, though not always, and I think the emotional effect is different. If the textures in a cubist painting are made to look too realistic, then for me it creates a slightly discomforting aesthetic because the cubism itself is so removed from visual reality. Imagine if characters in cartoons were textured in ways that looked like actual living flesh. That would be so weird. And a huge difference between Cubist art and Minecraft is that Minecraft's cubism makes spatial sense, but cubism in the art world frequently depicts overlapping cube impossibilities. It's quite a poignant aspect of cubism. It appears to both promote and defy geometry. Minecraft is unbelievably popular, one of the greatest selling and most played games of all time. It's even used educationally. Strange that so many people feel so comfortable interacting with this game world that, on account of its cubism, looks so alien to our own.